We are Popcorn, Piss, and Vinegar, and this is Loud as a Motherfucker. My name's Chris.
My name's Scott.
I'm JB4.
Why don't you turn your headphones down?
Jesus.
Why don't you turn your internal head thing down?
I'm like fucking Mahoney with the fucking
look at
bullhorn in the.
You guys can't see this, but like as compared to all of our other wavelengths, his is like Fat Albert big. Wow.
Let me see. Yeah, because I'm a loud motherfucker. You know that by now. Come on, dude. Good Lord.
Anyway,
so we're going to talk about Solo, as in SOLOW, a Star Wars story. So now it looks like Star Wars, the crown jewel of cultural icons, the barometer in which all franchises are measured, has had its first bomb, and bombed bad. Just before we give our review of it and all that stuff, we'll go ahead and talk about, I'll go through the stats out real quick. In its opening weekend, it grossed less than Justice League. Star Wars grossed less than Justice League. It only scored about $83 million on the opening, and now we're in week 2 at the time of this recording, and I read an article yesterday that it has a 77% drop, which is on par with The Last Jedi. Now you have 2 movies that now hold the record for the longest, for the largest drop on its second week, and both of them are Star Wars movies. That is fucking crazy. Solo only did 28 million, and what Forbes is saying right now, which they do a lot of they do a lot of nonpartisan shit when it comes to the news on these movies.
Yeah, business forecast.
Yeah, it's pretty much business forecast. They're saying that they'll be shocked if this movie breaks 400 million. That's fucking crazy.
Compared to The Last Jedi, what did The Last Jedi do second weekend?
The Last Jedi, in its second weekend, I didn't look up those figures, but it had a 72% drop, which is massive. I mean, really, really bad. So it goes to show you that, yes, Star Wars is broken, and regardless of what you feel about the movies, if you agree or if you agree with the creative direction, that's fine, but you just can't deny that something's fucked up, and it is what it is.
We all misstep.
Yeah, I have theories. You know,
they can't all be gems.
I really think that they made the biggest mistake was releasing it in summer, which is heavily populated with superhero
the biggest
movies.
mistake was releasing a movie about Han Solo.
Yes. I think that's valid. That's absolutely
and
valid.
Also, not to shit upon, you know how I feel about Justice League, but there was a certain excitement about, regardless of that first movie, like, oh, this is going to be all the Justice League guys together. I at least got to put my dollars down.
There was as much hate, dude. I go on these troll sites all the time, man. I'm telling you, people trolled the motherfuck out of Justice League, and I would say it was comparable with this Star Wars movie. I think that both of you are correct. I think that the Han Solo movie was not embraced by the fans. A lot of people say in their mind that Harrison Ford is Han Solo. They don't want to see any other character than that. Another argument that I saw, and I think this is valid, I've saw several people on these websites that have said, well, you presented me with Episode 7 and you killed Han Solo, and now you're going to bring me back as a young guy.
Yeah.
Why should I give a fuck about that?
That's a good point.
Why? Why should I care? John, I think there is also a lot of validity to what you say. I don't understand why they feel that they have to go back and recapture the magic of the May spot. They should have left this shit in December.
Yep.
And I think that the backlash from The Last Jedi hurt this movie big time with only what seems like the blink of an eye of it coming out, you know.
Real quick, not to mention, I mean, it is the third blockbuster film in weeks to come out. Like,
oh, yeah.
I mean, I
that's what I'm
spent
saying.
Avengers, then it was Deadpool, and by the time I got to Solo, it's like, God, I have so much homework to do. Like, this felt like an assignment. Like, give me a little time.
And there's still more coming. If you're a blockbuster person, I mean, dude, you still have Jurassic Park. Now, we know how we feel about that movie, but dude, that fucking movie did over $1 billion.
No,
that Jurassic World.
I'm just saying it. When you're target, I mean, Jurassic World's gonna do it'll be fine. But I'm saying when you're targeting like fanboys and those, but that genre, you're giving us Avengers, then you're giving us Deadpool, and then like we all sort of fit into that same. We're going to see those 3 movies. and you kind of dropped them at the same time.
No, I agree, but what both of you guys have said is 100% valid, but I'm going to bring this one in, and I'm going to call bullshit on this one. It's Star Wars fatigue. No.
Oh, no,
because there's 3 Marvel movies per year, and there is no such thing as fucking Marvel fatigue. We want to say all of the time, oh yeah, well there's superhero fatigue. Not for fucking Marvel. And the reason why is that they are making consistent movies. The only movie that has dropped below 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and below A's on CinemaScore is Thor: The Dark World.
Not Avengers 2?
That is the only one. Fuck no. Avengers 2? Yeah, Avengers 2, we thought it sucked.
Yeah.
Dude, that motherfucker is an A- in the 90s on Rotten Tomatoes.
But a lot of it had a big drop off the second weekend, and everyone was like, "It's a failure." You know, like not numbers on par with Solo, but because it wasn't making money at the same pace as the first Avengers, people were like, "Marvel fucked up."
Yeah, but I
Look
mean,
out.
but dude, here's the thing though. If you look at the price differences between those movies, though, there's only a disparity of $300 million between Avengers 1 and Avengers 2.
Gross? Or?
Avengers 1 worldwide did $1.6 billion. The Age of Ultron did $1.3 billion. So it was hardly a failure. I think the thing with it is that it wasn't as big as to Disney's expectations. They were hoping it was going to be
bigger,
even bigger than the Avengers. And I think that's where the disappointment came in. But by no means is that movie a failure. I mean, dude, Guardians of the Galaxy, who the fuck knew what that was except hardcore comic book fans? $800 million. Thor 3 Ragnarok, $800 million. Captain America 3 Civil War, $1.2 billion.
Well, here's the other thing.
They just keep racking. Dude, fucking Black Panther. There's even arguments right now, will Infinity War even beat Black Panther? You know, I mean, that's still a possibility.
I thought it did beat Black Panther.
I think it beat it domestically, but I don't think it's beaten it worldwide yet.
Right. I do think that Marvel, to a certain extent, is able to keep it fresh, in part because they're mixing up genres. Like Black Panther appealed to a totally different audience than Thor Ragnarok did.
You can say that shit all you want, and look, I agree. And I'm not getting all political and all that shit and everything. I thought it was a fantastic movie for the African American community. They needed a movie like that, but hey, guess what? Everybody went and saw that movie. MCU. Hey, a lot of white motherfuckers went and saw that movie too.
Undoubtedly.
Bro.
No, I'm not saying that they didn't. Go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say the other thing about what John just said, as far as what Marvel is doing with Fresh. I mean, yeah, they follow the formula and they put out formulaic movies one after another that work. But there's no young Captain America movie where someone else plays Captain America. They didn't do that. They're not going back and doing Iron Man.
Well, yeah, but then again, you're not talking about a franchise that's 40 years old. So, I mean, the MCU is only 10 years old. So it's easy to where you can sit there and take the same actor. You can take the same actor at this point. I'm talking about the movie MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. So what I'm saying is that Robert Downey Jr. is only 10 years removed from playing Iron Man. And as we've seen, you can take him and CGI to make him look younger.
Yeah.
You know, to take Harrison Ford and put him in a young Han Solo movie and de-age him, you know how expensive that would fucking
be? Terrible. But my point is, when you compare those things about what John was saying, Marvel is they're putting out newer stories. Avengers is about them going against this hero. They're going against, this villain. They're doing this thing. Ant-Man is this thing. They're not doing young Ant-Man. They're not going back in time and doing... Let's do another Iron Man story.
Well, yeah, because the thing with it is that
I'm just saying fresher stories.
Yeah, they're fresher stories, but I hate to break this to you, it's Star Wars that makes this shit possible. They're the ones who taught everybody how to have an expanded fucking universe.
Okay, then maybe they should learn from themselves.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, and that brings up the point. I know that it's all this. Oh, we got some missteps. Look, $2.2 billion. $2.2 billion in 2015. That's less than 3 years ago. 2015, okay? In that span of time, we've had 4 Star Wars movies. We had one that started at $2.2 billion. Then we had Rogue One, which was not even related to any of these characters, that did a little bit over $1 billion. Then you had The Last Jedi, which, comparing it to Rogue One, and comparing it to The Force Awakens, this movie only did $500 million more than Rogue One. I mean,
1.5 billion.
You got to be looking at that. Yeah, it did 1.6 billion. Rogue One did 1.1 billion. So you got to sit there and say, well, Jesus, dude, this movie features Luke Skywalker and all this stuff, and this is going to continue the adventures of this character. And I mean,
it's
and there
Avengers
it is.
1 and 2 at that point.
And but now we're looking at this shit, and we're looking at Han Solo, which, dude, isn't going to break 500. I mean, let's say that it was healthy. Let's say that nobody was pissed off about The Last Jedi. It rang 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. It got an A- cinema score, and it did about $1.8 to $1.9 billion. This Han Solo movie, I think, would have probably did 700 or 800 million. I really believe that. I think that a lot of this shit keeping people away, it is box office backlash. A lot of it. It is fan backlash.
I mean, that to me is undeniable. I think it's... Okay.
You can deny it all you want.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, look, you can feel good and be all right. Dude, I'm telling you. Episode 9, it is possible this movie crashes and burns.
Nope.
And if this movie crashes and burns, if it does, heads will fucking roll at
Episode
Lucasfilm.
9 is not Han Solo the movie. It's Episode 9.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Episode 8, and you're talking about backlash on Episode 8. Episode 8 did $1.6 billion. The reason Episode 7 did would you say 2.2?
Did $2.2 billion
is because that's the first Star Wars movie to come out in how many years?
It was
exactly.
a
Right.
movie that
So
came out that all of the
that's-
returning characters came back, but
with the Millennium Falcon.
No, that was the first since Episode 6. When was the last Star Wars movie?
Episode 3, it came out in 2005.
All right, so 10 years?
So 10 years, but dude, it's
So that's
the
a
return.
lot of people that wanted to come back and see that.
Because a big draw of that is, holy shit, dude, we're going to see Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher return as Han, Luke, and Leia.
All right, so let me ask you this. What if they would have never returned? Do you think it still would have done $2.2 billion?
No
way.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, so that's my point. The movie, let's say it would have done $1.6 billion, and then Episode 8 comes out, $1.6 billion. Or let's say 1.3 because Princess Leia's not in it. It's Star Wars.
Dude, I think the thing with it is you're fighting on the wrong shit here. There's fan backlash, I'm telling you.
It's because it's a bad movie.
That's part of it. I think the thing with it is you definitely have your alt-right motherfuckers out there that are pissed off that are calling these movies social justice warrior shit. And that's all fine and dandy and all, but there is a large contingent of people that are sitting there and saying, dude, this is bad storytelling. Okay. This is bad storytelling.
Yes.
And look, regardless of what it is, it makes no fucking difference. This is what it comes down to. Fans are unhappy. Franchise is making less money. You are talking about the franchise that was the fucking inventor of fucking 3/4-inch action figures. The whole model of action figures, play sets, vehicles, all of that comes from Star Wars. And dude, here's the Star Wars toys. Dude, they're saying that this shit is hitting the discount rack as soon as it comes into the store.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
Dude, unbelievable,
well,
man.
And there's a whole other discussion there in terms of, where kids' attentions are dedicated to.
Oh, right.
A lot of their revenue is going to loot boxes and shit. Like it's a much more competitive marketplace. So that's not a fair yardstick. But here's what I will say about the political variable, which is undoubtedly there have literally been people saying, do not see Solo so that you send a message to Lucasfilm that The Last Jedi sucked. Now, here's the problem, is a lot of people who are like, I just didn't like the movie because, I hated the casino planet or whatever. They're, legitimate narrative issues that they didn't like. What trolls are doing is conflating that.
So
with
in other
a
words,
political
it's like
position.
United States politics. It's the same old thing.
Well,
look, everybody who voted for Trump is a fucking racist. No. I mean,
exactly.
Right. That's
It
exactly
really
it.
is. But the problem is that people are getting turned off because that literally, I'm not kidding you when I say a troll's existence is predicated on how big a disruption they can create and how major a badge would it be to say we brought down Star Wars.
He's right. We can smell our own.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that to a certain extent, a lot of this box office toxicity is being driven by people that don't give a fuck. They just want to fuck with Star Wars, and people are buying it. You know, it's like, judge for yourself.
I think there are some people, but I think there are people who are legitimately pissed off, and I think that's absolutely the truth. I mean, dude, look. Another side of it also is that it's like anything else, man. It's the loud contingent of people that are shouting down the people who have legitimate gripes. You cannot convince me that this Han Solo movie has a lot to do with that shit. I mean,
has a lot to do with what?
Has a lot to do with the fact that people are just pissed off. People are mad, and I don't think it's to punish. I think it's not only to punish Star Wars. I think it's legitimately they're just pissed. They shat on their franchise. They shat on their love. Now, a whole separate topic is that look, it's kind of sad when you make a movie franchise part of your identity. That's kind of sad, but hey, look. But it is what it is, and I think what it comes down to is that Bob Iger has to pull everybody back to the war room and say, all right, what are we going to do to make this movies less controversial? Because one thing Star Wars has never been is controversial. Never has been.
But here's the thing, though. People bitching about politics. Star Wars 1, what the fuck were the soldiers of the Empire called?
It's a
stormtroopers. It is
like
very fucking clearly a Nazi parable. You know what I'm saying? So
it's more than a Nazi parable. It's a story about Jesus and Achilles and Nazis, and what it is that it's mythology and United States history painted through broad brushstrokes.
Indeed.
And that's what they need to get back to.
But I'm saying, if they get back to it, there isn't a troll in the universe that can't... I mean, they can make milk a political fucking statement right now. It is a byproduct of the age that we live in, and if you get caught in the crosshairs, you have to figure out a PR move to crush that shit, and that's where we're kind of in a learning curve right now.
Can I give some suggestions on PR moves?
Let's hit it.
Here's the thing: if I'm Kathleen Kennedy, she loves fucking stirring shit.
Right.
Bob needs
like you.
Yeah, oh, absolute. Worse than me though. Bob, I keep a lot of thoughts to myself. Kathleen doesn't. Bob needs to come up from on high and get everybody into the war room there and say, look, I don't want to give anything to do with socio-political bullshit. Don't bring up any of that crap. Nothing. This is the only story that you can totally do it. Marvel does it. You never hear any bullshit out of Marvel. Even Black Panther, where you could get real cuck troll fucking cocksuckers that could jump on there, which I've seen on the fucking internet about how, Black Panther's only there to appeal to black people. Right. It is. It's to appeal to the black audience who wants their own superhero. And congratulations, you got a subpar comic book movie just like fucking white people have. So there it is. There it goes. And that's the end of the fucking story. You know, I mean, but the thing with it is that even Black Panther sitting back there, even Kevin Feige is not saying things like, African American community, this movie's for you. No, here's a black guy that lives in an African nation that plugs into the MCU as a whole.
Yeah.
There it is. What is the message of that fucking movie? The message of that movie is togetherness. That's the message of the fucking movie.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we're going to join the world. We're going to join the world, and we're going to be a contributing member of society. We're not going to stay hidden anymore. We are going to take our advanced technology, and we are going to make the world a better place together.
Just like Star Wars. Oh, wait. No, Empire. Oh, no, wait. Return of the Jedi? No, that's all about a fight. It's literally Star Wars.
Yeah, that's my point.
It's not Star Kumbaya.
But that's my point. It should come back to that. Dude, I don't give a fuck who's pansexual. I don't give a fuck about animal rights activism. I don't give a fuck. I want the movie back to what it was, man.
Right.
Unfortunately, you're never going to get that. Go watch 4, 5, and 6 because
no problem. They can keep failing.
Well, that's and
the
people who get pissed about
Except
that.
Of course, him making out with his sister, but that's a whole other
incest.
issue.
Yeah, well, hey, look, that's Lucasfilm revisionist history.
Is it though?
Absolutely, it is. Dude, go listen to fucking interviews with Gary Kurtz, who produced those movies. He said Return of the Jedi was completely flipped on its head to make a happy ending and to sell more fucking toys. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Go listen, dude. I'll send them to you. I'll send the interview.
But what
So,
does that
so
have to do
Jedi
with-
was the beginning of the end.
Has to do with the fact
right?
that George Lucas, are those prequel movies perfect? No.
God, no.
God no. But the thing with it is that when I watch those prequel movies, I don't have a bunch of bullshit shoved up my ass. I don't.
Well, those movies were
Yeah.
made in the early 2000s. These movies
Before
are made.
there were
Well,
trolls.
okay.
Hey, look,
So
I mean,
that's-
and we can also
Before, dude, there's always been
no,
trolls.
no, no,
Come
no, no,
on,
no, no, no,
man.
no, no.
Come on.
There was no giant internet, Facebook.
There was
social
no
media
Facebook,
bullshit.
but there's always been trolls.
Yeah,
there's
but-
always been that.
Right, but they weren't
trolls were-
busting into your fucking life
Right.
whether or not you wanted them.
I
You
went
could
to-
find
right.
it if you sought it out.
Nobody
but
was tweeting the director or sending the director messages. They might send a mail, but fan mail's easy.
Oh, and I don't agree. Look, and even though I may disagree with some of the directions of these movies, I'll tell you, if you tweet the director and wish death upon him and all that kind of bullshit, you're a fucking tool bag, dude.
Sure.
All right.
You're a fucking tool bag.
And that's where we are. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's where we are.
Right,
That's
and
it.
those become stories that show up in our
Right.
news feeds,
And then
and it's
it's-
just like, this is
And then
insane.
we've gotten away from the fact that the movie it's a movie.
To,
We
to
got
come
no-
up, to come up with an '80s analog for that, it'd be like getting junk mail every day that said, George Lucas is a pedophile. Or, you see what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
right, at my house.
Look,
Junk
we-
right
mail.
at your house every fucking day.
Every day.
we can sit there and continue to fight the good fight, but I'm gonna tell you right now, while Marvel is over making fucking movies for everybody and not worried about all this stupid shit and saying, hey, we're making movies that appeal to everybody, and it makes no fucking difference about subcategorizations and bullshit, our movie's gonna continue to make $1 billion. Star Wars, not so fucking much. And that's what it
Yeah,
all comes
yeah.
down to.
We're-
And that's the base. You can fight me any way you want. I mean, that's what it is.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think it's because of Disney that Star Wars is going down?
Oh, I think it's because of the current writing team that's involved in this stuff. They're not creating quality stories. They've created things that people do not agree with. Personally, The Last Jedi, I have no problem with the Luke Skywalker story arc. Have no problem with it.
I don't either.
A lot of people are fucking mad, though.
Yeah,
They looked at it and they
exactly.
said, Luke Skywalker was a hero. He was optimist. No matter what he did, even when he was defeated, he saw the light of things and he went all the way through. Now he's right back to being this fucking like bumbling old man that fucking like he basically he fuck
called
you
originality.
Fuck you. Yeah, it's called originality. But hey, guess what? If your fans don't like it,
Right. I mean, that's
that's it.
that's the problem with taking
Tell
a
them to
risk,
go
because it
watch
may
4,
not pay
5,
off.
and 6.
Okay, well then.
There's an Ewok movie they can go enjoy.
Well,
if they
there's
wanna
the
see what's
all right,
in
Scott.
it.
So that's the answer. But Scott, see you.
That is the answer because it's.
But you don't care. I mean,
don't.
that's the thing. You
Yeah.
don't care.
I don't.
See, me, I love that franchise,
No.
and I want that franchise to be healthy.
Don't get me wrong. I like Star Wars, but like I went and saw Solo and I didn't like it. So you know what I did? I just watched Empire Strikes Back, and I was all warm and fuzzy again. I'm not gonna get on the internet and say, "God damn it, Star Wars, you're killing my life."
Oh, well, I'm not gonna
still
do
gonna
that
buy
either.
toys. I still love my BB-8 doll. I'm still gonna go to the parks and spend my hard-earned money. I'm not gonna get on a fucking raise a flag that says no Star Wars ever. I don't care.
I'm still going to go see the movies and find a joy in them that I can find. But
Right.
it kind of.
I'm actually not.
It really saddens me. It really actually kind of saddens me that I watched this brand come to this, because you're talking about the thing that inspired a generation of not only science fiction fans but fucking filmmakers, man.
I still feel like it's a misstep, and I don't think the train is derailed.
Well, an interesting aside is Chad on Scary Thoughts really, really liked Solo, and he said it's his third favorite movie of the whole thing. And honestly, I went and saw it. I enjoyed it, and I honestly thought it was the movie that people were bitching about Last Jedi not being. That's why I think they should have waited till December.
Yeah.
Get it further away from the superhero competition,
Right.
and get people missing it again. That's
yeah.
my theory.
Fondness.
I
Makes
like
the heart go.
I didn't like the Han Solo movie. I love the Han Solo movie. I like it and Rogue One better than Episode 7 and better than Episode 8.
Undoubtedly.
I think Rogue One and Solo blow the fucking doors off of 7 and 8. I mean, I understand that there might not be Jedi in these stories and all that shit and everything, but as
That's
far
okay.
as a universe builder and heart and somebody who has loved that shit, I mean, dude, look, what I loved about Solo in particular is that there's always these long shots of all this crazy shit to look at in these Star Wars movies. This one actually brings you in and gives close-ups of all the corners of dirty spaceports, criminal underground, bounty hunters, space cowboys, gangsters, heist men, all that shit. And
It's everything I wanted out of it, and it delivered, and it did a great job. And there's ticky tack things, like Scott, you said, he just, Henriksen, or however the fuck you say his name.
Alden Ehrenreich played Han Solo.
Alden Ehrenreich, thank you. That dude wasn't Harrison Ford enough for me, so it was I get that. But like I said, in terms of just narratively and story-wise and what happens, it was everything you could want out of a Star Wars movie. Yep. That's why I think that the angry fanboy contingent that's like, we're going to punish the franchise for disappointing us, is a variable that is undeniable. Their disappointment played a role. They're just like, because Star Wars is top heavy with a lot of political backlash, which I fault their PR team for not doing a better job of handling. That's the issue, in my opinion.
I don't know. I didn't.
I'm still going to see
7
9,
and
though.
8. Yeah, I thought 7 and 8 were fantastic movies, and Rogue One and Solo were terrible movies. I thought Solo was a good Chewbacca movie, maybe. I just, but I'm in the place of what Chris said. I'm one of those people who thinks Han Solo is Harrison Ford, and so when you give me something that's kind of not it, I immediately checked out, and nothing saved me at that point.
You're Bizarro-like, dude.
I don't. There were parts of that movie that I had questions about. Why not do they didn't do the crawl. Why are they not doing the crawl? But then they did that thing in the beginning where they spelled out what was happening, like a narrative on the screen. Why do it that way when you could just do the crawl? And I get what they said before, we're gonna make these not with the numbered movies, so we're not gonna do the crawl.
Right.
But then they sort of did it anyway, except it didn't crawl up the screen. It appeared on the screen, like subtitles, before the film. I'm like, all right, I guess.
It wasn't a perfect movie. I think Alden Ehrenreich. What are you laughing at?
That is the weirdest criticism I've heard.
It's Scott. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck.
Like, literally, I think you're the only person in the entire internet that is actually like.
I absolutely love Scott's critiques of everything, dude. I love it. I love it.
I'm holding back. I'm not giving you everything, but
well, I'm just going to give you this.
I'm
Look,
trying to give you the nice points.
Back to 1987, when Star Wars was a dead brand, and when they relaunched it with the West End Games Star Wars role-playing game, and they came out with the source book, and they went through all the trouble to tell you how to actually survive a blizzard on Tatooine, on a Hoth. I sat there and read this book, and I'm looking at all these little nuggets of info, and I'm like, damn, man, all these aliens in that bar had names, and they had backstories.
Right.
And they had all this shit, and wow, man, this is really fucking cool. And a guy who played those games with a group of my friends who were Star Wars fanatics, we played through that shit, and we made our own stories, and we did the exact kind of things I'm seeing in these movies like Rogue One. I mean, dude, when I sit there and I'm watching a movie like Rogue One, or even Solo, a couple of examples. I'm sitting there looking at it and saying, okay, wow, they're actually using kyber crystals to fuel fucking heavy weaponry in battle tanks. That's fucking crazy. When I sit there and I look at something in Solo and I'm watching the female lead beat the shit out of people, and she says that she's a master of fucking Terraskasi, which is like Star Wars version of jujitsu. I'm like, dude, this is fucking incredible. They put all those little things in it that you want to see, all those little finishing touches that maybe won't make a difference to someone who's a mundane Star Wars fan.
Right.
But for a guy who's loved that shit, for a guy who's just a movie-going Star Wars fan, Scott,
I'm a movie-going Star
you're a
Wars
movie-going
fan.
Star Wars fan. But when I sit there and I look at those shit and I know what all those things mean, when I can see all those little plugins, I'm like, dude, this is fucking awesome.
Okay, so the movie's 2 weeks out. Are we gonna spoil anything?
Oh yeah, totally.
So the movie's
totally.
All right. So, and what you just said, and when you had to tell me those things after I saw that movie, I'm like, oh my god, that's awesome that they did all these things. That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah. I'm like, I'm starting to change my mind about why I didn't like this movie, and maybe I need to see it again to catch all these things and kind of go back and then the Darth Maul thing happens, and again, I am the movie goer, the Star Wars movie goer. the cinematic universe. I didn't know that guy was alive. So when he comes back on screen, immediately every question mark and math problem is popping in my head like, how old does that make Han Solo, and where are we in the timeline? And so now I got to go back and figure out my entire life with this movie until you told me, oh, well, he's alive because of Clone Wars. Oh, well, I didn't fucking watch that.
But
now what do I have to do?
But I don't think that scene was really all that confusing to somebody who's really interested in it.
I was
mean,
interested in it.
Like, I can sit there and say, well, fuck, I thought Darth Maul was dead. Wow, he's alive.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's fucking cool.
Why is he alive? He was cut in half.
Watch Clone Wars.
But now I got to watch Clone Wars.
You don't really have to watch Clone Wars. All you got to do is go to a Google search and fucking go to Wikipedia and fucking type in Darth Maul, and it'll tell you the whole story.
I understand that. I get that. But if I am in the cinematic universe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Star Wars, Solo, whatever, what? That shit should be... They should have explained it. If that's the case, you're going to bring him back, he should have said... a narrative to kind of get us there, and we're like, okay.
I'm thinking maybe
cool.
but I'm thinking that with hopes that this movie was actually going to do well. I mean, dude, Alden Ehrenreich, Donald Glover, both those guys signed 3-picture deals.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, I mean, the thing with it is maybe they wanted to expand upon Solo and kind of make it its own franchise. Had it provided, well, you won't see that now. No way.
Nick has still put him in like Boba Fett. Right?
Yeah.
Well, and you bring that up, I mean, that's the next question. I mean, so they're going to get James Mangold, who directed Logan, which we all loved.
Yes.
They're going to get this guy to do a Boba Fett movie. Me, for one, I don't give 2 flying fucks about a Boba Fett movie. Will I go see it? Fucking A, I will. It's Star Wars. But do I really need it in my life? I need it about as much as I need a Han Solo movie.
Or an episode 9 or an episode...
But no. We need an episode 9. We need an episode 10, 11. That's another thing.
Yeah,
do we need a Boba Fett movie?
I agree with Scott. Really, honestly, man, look, if you're going to continue the saga, and we're going to put that out there and say, okay, look, we're going to continue the episodic Star Wars adventures that follow the legacy of these characters, whether it's their children or people that are associated to them and whatnot. Okay, the question is, do you really need a movie like Rogue One, Han Solo, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, a fucking trilogy made by Rian Johnson, another trilogy developed by Game of Thrones guys, a TV show? Do you need all that shit? No, you don't. I mean, you don't, but I mean... I
know I shit on Rogue One a lot, but I feel like, we may have needed that movie.
I don't think so.
You don't think we did?
Fuck no. I mean, dude... It says in the beginning of the fucking crawl of the first movie, look, Rebel Spy stole the fucking plans, and there it is. Do I really need to see that? No. Do I like watching it? Fucking A, I like watching it. I do. Do I need it? No, but I mean, I like it. I like watching it. And the only reason I'm bringing up these things is from my perspective of what I just said. I mean, okay, but I'm talking from the fan perspective that's pissed off. Mm-hmm. Boba Fett, a movie that people have actually asked for, that the fans want to see.
Yeah.
Is that now marred by Han Solo and Episode 8? Is it?
When does 9 come out? When does 9 come out?
Episode 9 has been pushed back. It was supposed to come out in May of 2019. It has been pushed back to December of 2019.
Yep. So I feel like I keep saying the optimism me. I feel like it'll be all right. I think they have enough time to go in and course correct. It's Episode 9. I mean, people are going to see it just to see what happens in Episode 9 at this point.
Oh, I think some people will see it, but I don't think that this movie. I don't think this movie will do as well as. And I can tell you, if the trend continues, where Lucasfilm basically sits there and says, if you don't agree with the direction, you're kind of a fucking idiot. If they continue that trend,
then they're out.
If that trend continues, this movie won't break $1 billion. Won't even break it.
Right. I mean, if they've already moved it to December, I feel like the message has been received.
Yeah.
Well, they announced that way before all this backlash happened. They announced this after Last Jedi, and the reason why this came on the heels is because right when they announced JJ was coming on, JJ said, "Well, look, basically, I'm having to finish up a whole bunch of fucking shit before I can get to this, so push it to December." I think it worked out well for both parties. Yeah, okay. He wanted it, and they wanted it. Right. So, there you go.
Jury's out, right?
Honestly, in a perfect world, in a perfect scenario where all of this shit comes to bear, Disney wanted to dominate the fucking summer. That's what they wanted to do.
Right.
Throw in Han Solo on the late date, throw in Avengers on the early date, let the Avengers come in and do all that shit. But then Fox came in and fucking swung their Deadpool dick, and that's what happened.
You're forgetting about one thing, and we keep talking about Disney as a whole. The Incredibles comes out next week.
Oh, yeah. That's another... right.
Which, by the way, and we keep going back to this Disney thing, missteps. I mean, there was Cars 2. Remember that? And then there was Cars 3.
Yeah, there's always going to be, dude.
No, but I'm saying, I'm going back to the Incredibles thing. Incredibles could come out and be a terrible disaster. We don't know.
Could be.
And it could fall back on, A, superhero fatigue, which we keep saying is not a thing, and it may or may not be a thing, but it's not Marvel. So who knows? Maybe that's a thing. It could be the sequel thing that Disney doesn't always get right. Who knows? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what the plan was. Disney sat there and said, look, we're going to wave our fucking mouse dick during the entire summer. We're going to come in and say, okay, here's what we're going to hit you with. All within 6 weeks. We're going to hit you with Infinity War, Han Solo, and Incredibles 2.
And Ant-Man.
And Ant-Man right after that. We're just going to fucking just steamroll 2018 and make it our bitch. Well... They
made themselves their own bitch.
And they made themselves their own bitch. And here's the problem. On all of the Han Solo stuff, with that going, dude, on the heels of Han Solo receiving the bad news that it's a fucking bomb, Roseanne Barr decides to fucking compare Valerie Jarrett to a fucking Caesar the fucking ape. I mean, dude.
That was the same time.
So that's the same time. So now you got that shit going on. And, I mean... Man, they fucking took like a big hit to their fucking stock. I mean, Wall Street came out and said, and the fucking Forbes and Business Insider said it straight up. On the news of Han Solo being a bomb and Roseanne Barr tweeting fucking idiocy, Disney saw a drop in their stocks today.
They were
pretty
dropping,
significant.
Because, I mean, like we had talked about Netflix opening with a higher number than Disney like last week or something like that, which is sort of it's unheard of. But Disney might be on a downturn. If you go and look at their history in the last 6 months or so, they're on a downswing. I'm not saying this is not helping or hurting. I agree with you. I'm just saying.
I think what's going to happen is once they pull Solo out of the theaters, they're going to carpet bomb us with like Amazon and Netflix. And they're going to get Solo to the audiences that sat it out because of either superhero fatigue or because that movie's going to get a sequel because it's better than the box office would suggest.
I don't know if that movie's going to get a sequel per se, but I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody else create a movie and relate those characters within that new movie. That wouldn't
like
surprise me.
Like Boba Fett.
Like Boba Fett, and I wouldn't be surprised to where, especially if they come out and especially with like that or Jabba the Hutt, Boba Fett, those characters, especially what they did, they're going to probably want to reintroduce Darth Maul, and that's a big draw. Darth Maul is a fucking popular character.
He is.
Yeah,
that's why they brought him back.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I'm saying, dude. Maul may. I mean, honestly, I personally think Darth Maul. Yeah, I mean, he's got snazzy moves, and he looks menacing, and...
Snazzy.
He's pretty fucking awesome in that regard, but I mean, dude, if you look at it in Episode 1, meh. You know, I mean, okay, he's Darth Maul, all right. He
putting
fucking,
on the Ritz.
Yeah, he fucking pirouettes and, like, fucking swings his lightsaber like the fat kid, but with great agility and promise, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, hey, look, they brought him back. He's a mega popular character.
Yes.
He was mega popular in Clone Wars, mega popular in Rebels, and I have no doubt you'll see that character in a movie again. Ray Park is still young enough to reprise that role.
They have to wrap that up. Like, I want to see Han Solo get in a dust-up with Darth Maul. Even if it's him just going like on the count of 3, Chewie, 1, 2, run! You know,
I think we'll see a Gambit movie before we see another Solo movie.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you, Scott. I'd agree with you.
I mean, because of all the backlash. There you go.
Yeah,
we'll see.
All right, well, I mean, look, I'm just going to give my final review. We didn't really go a whole lot into it, but dive really deep into this movie. But look, if you're a Star Wars fan and you like Star Wars, it's a good Star Wars movie.
It is.
It really is. It brings what I like about the movie is Aaron Reich and Glover man, look, they're no replacement for Billy Dee or Harrison Ford. But look, they made the roles their own. They didn't fuck it up. They gave nice little hints to those actors. And what I really liked about it was, man, like the whole ending part of the movie when he actually does the famed Kessel Run that he mentions in the first Star Wars movie.
Yes.
Man, the effects are amazing. It brings back all of the trademark Han Solo score pieces from John Williams.
Oh, yeah. It's
Dude,
awesome.
it's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And I loved it. I thought it was really good. Chewbacca in it is awesome. It's awesome to see him get like some... being more than the sidekick.
Yeah.
He had more shit to do in this movie. And one thing I have to say that's awesome, too, is with the technology of better costuming and with a guy who actually is an athlete instead of a big, tall man, Chewie can do some fucking awesome shit now.
Oh, right. Undoubtedly.
Dude, he's like fucking like doing the choke slam from hell fucking Undertaker style. It's fucking awesome, dude.
And you know what else I really liked is that we all know from the trailers that the Millennium Falcon's like brand spanking new.
Yeah.
The Kessel Run completely fucks it up to its current state.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean,
it's awesome.
It's awesome, and it's cool to see Han Solo actually, after he goes through that shit, he's like, I have an emotional connection to this ship, and I want it, and I'm going to go fucking get it.
Yep.
And I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Another thing I thought was great, too, and I love it. Just goes to prove once again, dude, Hollywood is fucking gamers, man. When you get into the middle of the fucking void of the maelstrom of the Kessel fucking Run, that big Call of Cthulhuoid fucking beast that lives in the middle of it with the big tentacles and shit, I was like, that looks like something straight out of the fucking Mist. And if somebody said that thing actually, the maelstrom of the Kessel Run connects to the fucking Mist universe, I'd actually be all for that. Oh, so, even though I don't like mixing my Star Wars with other shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was gnarly as fuck. I love that. It was cool.
I mean, like I said, it's the movie people were bitching Last Jedi wasn't, which is why I'm like, so you're not going to go see it because you're that mad? Okay. Because they're going to watch it. They'll be like, I'm going to watch that shit on fucking Cody. Fuck them. They're not getting my money. They're going to see it. They're going to be like, oh, that was good. That was good, man.
There's so much fan service in that movie. I literally thought, dude, the actors were going to turn to the screen and wink at everybody Deadpool style. It was really fucking cool.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're lost if you don't go see it because you're mad.
Yeah, man, dude,
at least go see it so you can hate it like me.
Yeah, but go see it, but go see it quick because it's going to be out of the theater pretty soon. Bloop. So there it is. All right, well, look, we appreciate you guys listening. Please jump over to iTunes. We ask you to subscribe over at PPV Guys. Look, man, at least you could do for us is just give us a rating. 5 stars. It doesn't cost anything. We don't charge anything for this show. Would actually make us, like, go up in the ranks and all, and that would be really fucking cool. Write a review also if you have a couple extra minutes. We really appreciate that. We ask you to do the same for Not Real Radio. Give them a listen, and also our friends over at Scary Thoughts, Mark and Chad. Phenomenal show.
Yeah,
and to say something about Mark and Chad, I've actually I keep up with all their episodes. I've listened to every one of them. But I like now that they're kind of like going off the beaten path a little bit. They're kind of going more into horror literature, and they did a fantastic episode on Facebook. You should definitely go check that out. The fear of social media.
Wow.
And how it is a collective fear of fucking trollery. It's fantastic. Great episode. So, yeah, definitely check them out. Man, do them a favor, man. Look, they don't charge anything. Just please leave them a review, write them a review. Same thing with our people at Not Real Radio. Last thing, jump over on Facebook. Join the PPV Guys group. You can bullshit with us throughout the week.
Don't be scared of it.
Yeah, don't be scared of it. Just fuck with us, and we'll fuck with you back. Promise me, love you long time. So, all free. Thanks for listening and seeing.